Hello, and welcome. I don't know if you know me, so I am Ali Meehan. I'm founder of Costa Women, and I'm one of the co-organisers for the International Women's Day in Marbella. I'm recording videos with the speakers, and my very first one is with the lovely Jo Bendle. Hi, Jo.
Hello. I'm very excited to chat to you today. Can't wait for the conference.
Well, it's great because you were there last year in the capacity as an attendee. So yes, you know what's going to happen. We have got quite a few new ladies this year who don't know what's going to happen on the day. So that's a bit exciting. But let's just start off by hearing who you are and what you do.
Okay, yeah. So I'm Jo, and I'm actually a productivity and mindset coach. So I basically work with passionate women in business who are generally tired of being held back by perfectionism, procrastination, held back by inaction. And so I give them the tools and support to really ditch overwhelm and create that focus to help them actually create the freedom that they probably set out to create in the first place. Because I think that no one starts a business to work harder and earn less, and that is quite often what is the case. So that's me in a nutshell.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely true. So where did your professional story start?
Well, I actually think that it's literally, this is showing my age now, like going back 20 years. Like 20 years ago.
You're just a baby.
Really? Yeah. No, 20 years ago, I started being like a personal assistant. So I was a PA and I worked with really kind of like high level people. So like the CEOs of big companies. I worked in London as a PA and then an EA, and then I started my own business as a VA, a virtual assistant. So I then worked with business owners that were really had thriving businesses, and I think the whole time I was able to see just how differently successful people show up. So I actually think like the whole profession where I am now has been like, I can see that the journey makes complete sense now. Obviously you don't see it in to start with, but so watching how other people show up and then realizing like what my own struggles were, and my business really evolved from being a VA to now coaching women around the world. I mean, my clients are very, very global. Just seeing what the struggles are around. It doesn't matter how many tools we have, or there's that whole, it's not what you know, it's what you do. Like, we know what we need to do, but we don't do it. Which is why I get really excited about what I teach, is because, there's this practical side, but then it's like, wow, why is there the resistance around doing the things that would actually move me forward?
Yeah. No, I love that, because I think the best businesses are ones that have come out of meeting a need that you have yourself.
Yes.
Then you really understand what the issues are for people, and you've done that. I mean, you've gone from the grassroots, as it were, right the way through to now helping people in the position you were in, which is
it's been a really interesting transition as well, just to look back on, but also because I am still so in the thick of it. Like I love sharing, because one of my big kind of like values for my business is to really show up authentically and show everybody that just because what you think you can see on screen, like we see people's perfect Instagram feeds and stuff, and it's like, that's not the reality. And I really want people to know that, you can have a thriving business and it can be messy in the background. It's like really keeping it real as well, which is, actually it's easier if we just get to show up as ourselves.
Yeah. So what actually is a productivity coach?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it's a really broad term, and I think it doesn't really matter. Like we all feel like we need a title, and I probably would be like, is that really what I do? A productivity coach is somebody that actually helps you achieve more in less time, be more efficient, I guess. But we, as all coaches, we all bring our own kind of unique kind of twist to it. And so for me, I'm not somebody that's actually I'm not going to be really, really excited about the next productivity app that comes out. But what I am really excited about is what the vehicle of productivity gives us. So for me, to put context behind that, is that when I started my business, I lived in the UK. I was, tied to, really, I'd given myself a job. And my big dream was that I wanted to be able to travel the world and run my business from anywhere. And so I felt like I needed, what was going to get me from here to here was I needed a vehicle, and productivity was the vehicle that I used. And so then I, like I achieved that dream. But so that's what gets me. This is what I teach when it comes to, like that whole term. It's like, we're all different. We all bring our own thing to it. And for me, it's like the end result of like, well, actually, if we do implement even just 10% more discipline in our lives, then it's absolutely game changing for the results and for us to create that life that we desire.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you asked any woman in business what one of their probably in the top 5 or even top 3 issues were, it is lack of time and having more time to do what they want to do. So I'm sure people are going to be both ears full on to your topic.
It's so funny. I literally was just talking to somebody this morning around the whole time thing. It was like, why does time get such a poor, like a bad rep? Because we all say I haven't got enough time, and it's like that's not the reality. It's just that we are not choosing, the right things of how we're not prioritizing or getting really clear about what is going to have the biggest impact. And I think we all blame it on time. And I think that's the thing as well to talk about. It's like, this is why I like peeling back and being like, yeah, there's this practical stuff. Like, this is actually how you can show up today for your to-do list. But peeling it all back like the onion is like, oh, but why is the excuses, the perfectionism, the procrastination, the self-doubt, the bright shiny objects, all that stuff is what really is going on. And like, you can't have one without the other. We've got to look at them both.
Yeah. So your topic for the International Women's Day conference is the surprising truth about being super productive. So obviously I don't want you to give the talk now, but can you give us some highlights to what you're going to be covering?
Absolutely. Okay, so the thing that I always come up against when I start talking about productivity is like most people have got a negative reaction to the word productivity. It's like, oh, it means I'm going to have to hustle, work hard, lose my freedom, can't be in the flow, creative, etc. And so I think that I really want to flip the perspective on that and be like, actually, the truth is, like I think I may have shared, or I did or I didn't, but one of my top values is freedom. And so, I'm not somebody that wants to be boxed into like something that feels restrictive or isn't flexible or doesn't allow for spontaneity. So it's really about bringing that to the table and being like, finding a way that allows us to actually be disciplined. Freedom actually comes through discipline. Like, I literally learned that the hard way of like, I had lots of freedom and I had no money because I wasn't using that time effectively. And so I really learned the hard way that the more little things that the more discipline I have, the more time I have to do what I want to do. So really it's about looking at some of the myths and busting those, and then giving you some practical like steps around this is how we can approach it that feels more aligned to how most of us want to live our lives.
Yeah. Sounds very exciting. Really looking forward to that talk. So before the conference, which is the best way to connect with you? Do you have a preferred platform?
I think probably the best place is Facebook. So there's my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/jobendle.uk. I also have a free Facebook group. I mean, I'm very, very, like approachable. So, and, this is like my favorite thing to talk about. So people can approach me in any way that works for them. So, yeah.
Great. Okay. And you're very happy for the girls to join your group before the conference?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. That's a good place to come and like just kind of hang out and get in the vibe. Yeah.
And get productive before it even happens.
Yes, absolutely. So that group's called Productivity Boosters for Female Entrepreneurs. I think you've got a link for that. I can send it.
Yeah. No, we'll add all the links below this interview. Brilliant. Well, thank you very much, Jo. It's been very exciting to find out a little bit more about you and what you're going to be talking about on the 8th of March. And we'll look forward to seeing you in Marbella.
Thanks for having me. Can't wait to be there.
Okay. Bye.